right, you are currently live.
Okay, thank you, Erica. Good evening, everybody. We are here tonight. It is September 21st, 2020. It is 5:03 p.m. We're at the mid-monthly tribal council meeting scheduled for today, September 21st, 2020, 5 p.m. via GoToMeeting. As a reminder, the regular and mid-monthly tribal council meetings are live streamed. Call to order at 5:03 p.m. Carl, Mr. Carl Baker, you say a word of prayer for us, please. Opening prayer, please. Carl.
Oh. Father, I come to you in a word of prayer at this time. Yes. And whatever I pray to you would be, you can hear my prayer. You know why we're gathered here at this mid-monthly meeting. And I ask you to be with all of us here and the people out in the public that are online, that whatever we say or do would be beneficial to our tribal organization. And I ask that you cure us from this virus. And, it has risen somewhat. And I saw you be with especially our people that are dealing directly with this virus. And I want to ask you to bless our workers here that are take care of us, or monitor us in this building, or enter these buildings, and they clean these buildings. That I should be with them so that they can continue to protect us all. And that's that you be with our veterans, wherever they may be, men and women. And anybody who's on this beds of illness, that be with them, cure them, help them. But, make them aware that they could try to help themselves. And anything I forget to neglect to pray about, Father, I should take care of that. Amen. Skeptic.
Carl, very good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, we're at the agenda. Is there any added items for tonight's agenda?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'd ask that the agenda item that I issued the email to the tribal council members on last Thursday be added in relation to the regular election ballot where it says 5 vacancies, 5 votes.
Okay. Any other additions?
Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to add an item, removal of 2 people off the HCI Board of Directors.
Okay. Is there any others? No other added items? We got two additionals. The election ballots, 5 vacancies, 5 votes for this upcoming general. HCI Board of Directors, removals. Is there a motion to approve this amended agenda?
I'll make that motion to approve.
Second.
Carl, is there a second? Thelma?
Yes.
Motion by Carl and a second by Thelma. Any objections?
I object, Chairman.
Discussion?
Yeah, action of adding five voters would violate the election code, so that's an out of order. And also, I have been provided no materials on why we would be removing HCI board members. So I would object to those 2 additions.
Okay. We'll call for the vote. All in favor, raise your right hand, please. Carl, Thelma, Eric, Brian, yes. Yeah, Carl, Thelma, Eric, and Brian, yes. No. Raise your right hand and say aye. Louis, John, Colin, Lorelei, vote no. 0 abstentions. That's 4 yes, 4 no. It's a tie, 4-4, 4-4-0. Chairman votes no to approve this amended agenda.
Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
There's motion by John to approve the agenda as presented. Is there a second? Is there a second to approve the agenda as presented? Moved by John.
Second for discussion.
Second by Brian.
Discussion.
Discussion, go ahead.
The agenda item that I placed on the email that was sent to all of the council members, which everyone received last week, is in relation to something that does not change anything. It is simply a clarification because people are wondering why they are not allowed to vote for 5 people this year when they were allowed to vote for 4 people last year, and every other circumstance where there were more than 3 natural vacancies at the council table. As specified under our constitution, the 3 natural seats come up every year. And as specified in a different section, we have vacancies that constitute unexpired terms. Therefore, the people have the right under our constitution to vote to fill these vacancies. And this is the point at which they will do so in the October election. The primary is a different matter, but the general election is not. It is specifically stated in the Constitution that people shall vote to fill these vacancies, and that's the right that I'm trying to preserve for them. I don't understand why anyone would be afraid to have our people vote. What are you scared of?
Chairman,
Yes,
such an action would go against the election code where it says people can vote up to 3. And I would be no part of that because anybody who was a part of that could be subject to an ethical complaint. So myself, I will not be a part.
Okay,
Mr. Chair, I'm in agreement with Councilman Snowball and what he just put out there. Thank you.
Chairman, I'm also in agreement with John Snowball. And also last year, they only voted for 3, wasn't 4.
Mr.
Okay.
Chairman, I don't agree with John because we're not changing the election code, which allows for 3 on the regular expired terms that are coming up. Our right to vote for the other 2 is covered under the Constitution for unexpired vacancies. So we're not violating any code. We're adding what the Constitution says for those 2 unexpired terms, which we should be allowed to vote for 5. And there's nothing unethical about following the Constitution of the Winnebago tribe. Thank you.
okay. Any other comments?
Chairman,
Go ahead.
I too agree with Councilman Snowball. Thank you.
Okay. Is there any objections? No objections? To approve this
Object.
as is. Okay, we'll call for the vote. All in favor to approve the agenda as is, raise your right hand, please. Carl, Eric, Roland, John, Thelma. 5 yes? No? Raise your right hand.
No, the people of our tribe should be given the opportunity to vote to fill every vacancy at this table. Their representation should not be silenced.
That's 3 no, Louis, Brian, and Lorelei. That's 5 yes. 3 no, 0 abstentions. The agenda is approved as is with no additions, 5-3-0. Okay,
Chairman, who seconded that?
What's that?
Who seconded that?
Brian. Motion by John, seconded by Brian. Okay. Reading of the minutes, August 25th, 2020, Special Tribal Council meeting minutes. Casino operations, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Rollins, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Eric. Any objections?
Object.
Okay. Call for the vote. All in favor, raise your right hand. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7. 7 yes, no. Abstentions. 1, Brian. August 25th, 2020, Special Tribal Council meeting minutes are approved, 701. We go on to September 9th, 2020, regular Tribal Council meeting minutes. The motion to approve, please.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Eric, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Roland. Any objections? No objections. No objections, discussion. None? Motion passed 800. September 10th, 2020 CEO report meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve, Mr. Chair.
Motion by Roland. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Eric. Is there any objections? Any discussion? No objections? No discussion? Motion passed 800. September 11th, 2020 HCI shareholders meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Roland, and is there a second?
Second.
Second by Eric. Any objections?
Object.
Discussion?
These are not minutes of the council, therefore the council doesn't have to approve any part of them.
Any other discussion?
I agree with Brian.
Call for the
This
vote.
conference will now be recorded.
Okay, I've just discussion. This is the 24th is the HCI Board of Directors meeting. And the information we requested is supposed to be available for us that day. I thought it was for Friday, but apparently through some email, I see it was not. So council, we'll see you there Thursday on the meeting. Get that information and those numbers, and we'll go from there. That will be Thursday, the 24th. All in favor to approve the September 11th, 2020 HCI shareholders meeting minutes? Raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Carl, Thelma, Roland, Eric, and John. No. Raise your right hand. Brian, Louis, and Lorelei. That's 5 yes, 3 no, 0 abstention. Motion passed 5-3-0. September 15th, 2020 monthly land meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Motion by Ron and it was seconded by Thelma. Any objections? No objections. Discussion? No objections, no discussion. Motion passed 8-0-0. September 16th, 2020 General Council meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Eric. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Roland. Any objections? Discussion? No objections, no discussion. Motion passed 8-0-0. Thank you. That does it for the approval of the minutes. Okay, we go on to ratifications. First ratification is resolution 20-181, fiscal year 20, U.S. Bureau of Indian Affairs, BIA, Hokak Grammar Research and Video Project, Phase 1. Is there a motion to ratify?
Oh, I'll move to ratify the 5 signature for the Bureau of Indian Affairs Whole Chunk Grammar Research and Video Project.
Okay,
Second,
motion by Lorelei, second by Thelma. Any objections? Discussion? No objections, no discussion. Motion passed 800. Adopt resolution 20-181A, fiscal year 20, Ho Chunk Language Academy project, phase 1. Is there a motion to ratify?
motion to ratify.
Is moved by Thelma. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Think we might have it.
Motion by Thelma, second by Carl. Any objections to ratify?
Give me a wave on the screen. I'll come back if you need me to.
No objections, discussion? Motion passed 800. Adopt resolution 20-195, authorization to identify Winnebago Tribe of Nebraska as a supporter of the amicus brief.
Motion to ratify.
Second,
It was motion by Eric, seconded by Thelma. Is there any objections? Discussion? Motion passed 800. Thank you.
Hey,
Okay, we're on to new business.
Coley, can you hear me?
Yes.
Just to interrupt real quick, we had a caller 04 just join not too long ago. Can they identify themselves for the notes?
This is Sherry from enrollment.
Okay, we'll add your name. All right, Coley, go ahead.
Okay, thank you for that. New business, item 1, weight limit for BIA Route 17. Ron, go ahead.
Ron,
Turn your volume up, Ron. Unmute yourself,
Mute
Ron.
yourself.
It looks like Ron may have froze.
If Ron's on his phone, *6. *6 is how you unmute.
Looks like he froze up too.
oh yeah.
Okay, let's we'll come back to Ron whenever he gets his can you guys send him a text? IT? You have his number?
Yeah, Brandon's on it. We'll make sure somebody gets a hold of him.
Okay, we'll come back to him. Okay. Okay, we'll go to item 2. Resolution. Winnebago Injury Prevention Program, Tribal Injury Prevention Cooperative Agreement Program, TIP-CAP. New resolution number. Thelma, do we have a new resolution number?
I don't have it yet. I'll get it to you in a bit here.
This funding program received a 5-year total for $625,000 for December 1st through November 30th, 2025. $125,000 a year. It'll be part of the Winnebago Comprehensive Healthcare System. Injury prevention.
Yeah, 20-196.
20-196.
Okay, is there a motion to adopt 20-196, the Winnebago Injury Prevention Program?
Motion to approve.
Moved by Roland, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Eric. Any objections? Discussion? No objections, no discussion. Motion passed 8-0-0. Thank you. Okay, we go on to new resolution 20-197 BIA funds for procurement of wildland firefighting personal protective gear and training for our wildland firefighters. Fighting. Is there a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
Okay. This is a $12,500 reward. Motion by Eric. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Carl. Any objections? Discussion?
Discussion.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm in agreement with this amount, but there seems to be a problem with the BIA firefighters out there. The one in charge, we have a lot of Winnebago firefighters here, but for some reason, our people never get on. And the majority of them that are on are the ones from Santee or Yankton. So I see that as a problem with them not getting our own Winnebago tribal people on that force. So I would like to see maybe more communication with their director out there to make sure that our people are involved in this firefighting.
Chairman,
Yes,
I'd just like to clarify that this is not in connection with the BIA's wildfires. This is dollars that come to the Winnebago tribe, and we've looked at having our conservation officers get training and the proper PPE, since they are the ones that are in the field that would be most likely to spot a wildfire, and then be able to ensure actions taken care on those, and so that they can work in a mutual aid capacity with our local volunteer fire department. So this is separate from the BIA firefighting efforts.
Okay, well, thanks for clarifying that, Joy.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution in support of this for our conservation officers to get the PPE and training.
There's already,
There already did.
wildlife firefighter training. Okay.
we already have a motion and a second on the floor, Mr. Chair.
Yes, we do. It was a motion by Eric and a second by Carl. He's in discussion.
Oh, sorry.
That would be a good thing to bring up with the BIA though, Thelma, with your concerns with our local wildland and the BIA firefighting. We'll try and address that.
Okay.
Any objections? Any more discussion? Motion passed 8-0-0. Okay. Okay, we're on to human services. Approved PL 102-1 or 102-477. Plan renewal for fiscal year 21 to 23. Is there a motion to approve the renewal of PL 102-477?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman, this is John. I'll second.
Motion by Carl and it was seconded by John. Any objections? Discussion? Carl, go ahead.
Oh,
Carl, go
Just,
ahead.
I notice, whereas this resolution, it mentions, third from the bottom, it mentioned Veterans Affairs, but I looked through this issue here and I don't see anything about veterans in there. Maybe it's not a big deal, but I want to bring that out. Maybe somebody can expound on it or explain something or point something out. Other than that, it's not really a big deal, but I'm interested in that part. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, for
Yes,
discussion.
Lorelei, go ahead.
Okay. I'd like to see an evaluation of our human services program. I've been talking with tribal members who have concerns. And, our hospital has a patient satisfaction form. And I think our human service program should have a client satisfaction form, so that we get feedback on whether or not, or what kind of impact our services are making on our people. I'd like to see that in our human services program. All the clients would have a chance to give input on how they're receiving the services. That's my own thinking. Thank you.
Lorelei, a few years ago, we did do that. If I can find it, remember to find it tomorrow, I'll get that to you. That report that was done, but we can discuss this with our CEO too, see what needs to be done. Okay. Any more discussion?
Yes, Chairman. Since we have Shiara and her team on here, if she can explain to us the difference from her last plan to this plan. Any changes?
Okay. Shara? Shara Canoyer?
This is Tina Tassler. I'm the Deputy Director up at Human Services. I can kind of explain the differences in the plan. I'm the one that redid it and the one that is submitting it. So basically, a lot of the services stayed the same. The real big difference is that we expanded our service area. So with the PL 102477 law that we operate under, we're allowed to combine our services and not individually pick them out like GA TANF. We just call it cash assistance, and the law allows us to do that. So I really just combined all of it to not limit us in who and where we can serve tribal members. So I expanded the service area quite a bit to cover Thurston, Dakota, and Woodbury County. And then we had some changes in there that we had to put in for the childcare services that we're going to be starting to offer once we get the childcare licensed. And then just to touch briefly on the Veterans Affairs question. So a couple of years ago, all the departments passed an MOA that basically included an additional 8 departments that we can get funding from and roll under our program so that all of our money loses its identity once it gets to us. And the Department of Veterans Affairs was one of those departments. We have not identified funding under that department that we would roll under yet. And I don't know of any tribes that have as of yet. However, we do in our plan state that we serve veterans first. They are priority when services come into play. So that is something that we look at. It's part of our application process, and we do identify veterans as they apply.
I have a question, Chairman.
Eric, go ahead.
Questions for Tina. For the money that you're going to be getting from the Veterans Affairs, should that time come, will you be helping the veterans, the Winnebago Veterans Association out, since you are receiving money from the Veterans Affairs? Thank you.
So if we identified funding that we could roll under our program, everything that we have under our program has to be related to employment and training and educational services. So if we could identify those types of needs with the veterans that we would be helping, then yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there any other questions for Tina?
No, but thank you, Tina.
Any more discussion?
You're welcome.
There was a motion by Caro, second by John, to adopt Human Services PL 102-477 renewal plan fiscal year 21-23. Any objections? No objections. Motion passed 8-0-0. Thank you. Ron,
Chairman,
get fixed up there.
Chairman,
Can you hear me now, Chairman?
Hold on, Eric, go ahead.
Okay.
what was the resolution on that? Is that 20-198?
198, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Ron, go ahead with the weight limit for BIA Route 17.
Okay. Can you hear me okay, Cully?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I wanted to bring it to the tribal council's attention that we have, some differing circumstances out on Route 17 and especially Route 17B. And Route 17B is the route that goes from Whitewaters on down to Big Bear Park. We have, a different farming operation, obviously, that's going on down there. And in the past, the crops were taken out to the north, out through Olson's field, because I think up until last year, Olson's farmed that property. They had a lease on the property. And over, last year, I don't think there was too much of a crop that came out of there, but we had some pretty poor road conditions this spring. And we had a lot of, saturated roadbed conditions, I think, that contributed to it. But this year, there's going to be it looks like a pretty good crop down on that 1,200 acres down there. And I'm concerned if we run trucks up Route 17B, especially if we run a couple hundred trucks up through there, that we're going to have serious damage to Route 17. And what I think that we should do, there's a couple of things, I guess, that I want to just bring up just for discussion purposes this evening. And I think we should consider load limits on that road, especially Route 17B, which is from Whitewaters on down. And the load limits would be with a total gross weight of 28 or 29,000 pounds for any vehicle. Would be the heaviest gross weight that it could have, which is quite a bit less than what a loaded grain trailer would be. A loaded grain trailer is approximately 80 to 85,000 pounds. And I think that this is fairly common. What the BIA had told us that we can't we can't put in place just strictly a no trucks limitation. We tried that before, and they told us we had to take those down because we couldn't just restrict trucks. But Brenda Red Wing has, we've been in contact with her for the last week or so, and she said that that we can put just weight restrictions on. And I put together an email and I sent it out to the tribal council, I think later today, and I think some of them went out last night. And I listed a couple options that we had on a council meeting, or it was just a conference call last Friday. And we listed a couple of different options that how we could accommodate getting the grain up the hill, and the tribe not bearing the damage to Route 17, because what we've done just with the new work that we've done on Route 17B, we've gone about approximately half a mile down the hill past Whitewaters to Hughes's driveway with the leveling and the patching. And then we've also down to the Hughes's driveway, we put 4 inches of asphalt over the top of it. So structurally, we're in pretty good shape down to Hughes's driveway. But we're going to have a pretty big breakup, in my opinion, if we try and run a couple hundred trucks, full of grain, 80 or 85,000 pound trucks all the way up that route. And I've been in contact with Aaron LaPointe. We met on a call last week, and he was concerned that if he was able to negotiate an agreement with Olson's to go up through along the river and up through over to Homer and then back down to Winnebago, that's where his storage is. That's probably not the best option for them or most convenient option for HCI Farms. My thought would be to consider the adoption of the weight limits and then allow by special permit only, like during harvest season, or if we've got a concrete truck or something else that's got to go down there, to grant a permit by a special permit only. And I think especially for harvest, if we're going to be running a couple hundred trucks up through there, we would grant a special permit and we would videotape and do everything we can to make a good determination on the condition of that road. And then after the harvest or whatever activity is completed, to repeat the video and the evaluation process of the road to determine if there's been any damage from the harvest. But with the road in the condition that it's in now, there's a high probability that there will be pretty severe damage if we try and run the trucks up there now. One of the options that I think we should consider is to continue the 4-inch lift all the way down to that cornfield, or at least up to the closest corner of that field, or up to where we made improvements after the 2012 flood. Which is about 12,600 lineal feet down to that point. And with the prices that we have right now that we've received from Knife River and Barclays prices were about the same, it would cost approximately $730,000 to get down to that point. We have, I think we've got about $1.6 million in our IRR TTP fund account. And maybe Alan could confirm that, but that's what that sounds about right. And that was the number that Irita gave me today. With this, if we were going to move forward with the additional 4-inch overlay down to that point, it would be about $730,000. And there's 2 projects that I would like to try and get completed next year. And it would be to pave the quarter mile of roadway along the south side of Ho-Chunk Village. We've been delayed on that project a couple of years. The Nebraska Department of Roads wanted us to wait until after the roundabout was in, and that roundabout's going to be in sometime this fall. So next spring we can start on that. That's about BI Route 52. It would go out to Donnie's Snowball's old place, or Scooter Snowball's place. And the cost of that project was estimated at $450,000. The other project that I think we should do next year is the mill patch and overlay out on Thunder Way. That road's in pretty bad shape. I don't know if anybody's been out there lately, but it's in pretty rough shape. So the total of those are approximately $800,000 for those 2 projects. And the cost to do the overlay down to the bottom where we could get trucks on decent paving would be about $730,000. So that totals about $1,530,000, and it leaves us with about $1.6 million in our account, and we will receive about another $350,000 next year from the BIA. So I'm not really sure what, there's some options that I listed that, that I can go through them, or if you guys have a chance to read those, you can go ahead. But I think this would be the best option for everybody, for the tribe and for Ho-Chunk Farms, if we could bring the additional 4-inch overlay down to the farm field where they're going to be running trucks, or they would like to be able to run trucks up through there. And I just brought it up for discussion. But I guess I would be willing to answer any questions, or I'm interested in everybody else's thoughts are.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Ron.
I want to thank Ron for his due diligence and then bringing this to this council's attention. I think that weighing all the options and looking at what is the best outcomes for the Winnebago tribe, roads department, HCR farms, and then the community as a whole, that having this resource earmarked and allocated for this would be money well spent. But again, that's just my opinion. I also feel that there's a lot of moving parts to this, and we need to be cautious and make sure that we have all our I's dotted and our T's crossed when it comes to federal monies. So if we could get this some definitive plans and answers on how we're going to address this with this weight limit, have our legal draw that up, and then how we're going to access what process we need to do for that federal funding to complete that 4-inch overlay. And then we could bring that back in on a tribal treasurer's report, and then we could put some we could finalize that, pass that, and then get this moving so that we can have this completed this season, so that there wouldn't be any disruption to HCI farms. They could get up out of there with their grain. We could protect that road that we've already put revenue towards. Those are my thoughts and feelings, Mr. Chair. Thank you for your indulgence.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
I want to say thank you, Ron, for your work that you're doing. I know it's a lot of work that you're doing there. And I like your option 2 with your weight restrictions. And with that also, can we include a fine on that too, so that any kind of money revenue that's brought back in with that can go back into there on the road?
Yeah, I think there has to be, there's got to be some teeth in it. Otherwise, nobody's going to pay any attention to it. I think there's a kind of a list of things that I just had jotted down that I think we're going to need to get addressed before that treasurer's report next week when we meet to try and get this approved. But we're going to need to get a scale so we can enforce the weight limit. And I think I'll maybe talk to Jason a little bit about that, or see what our options are. Maybe John's got some ideas also. We talked to John earlier today, John Snowball, and John thought that they would be interested in participating or taking the lead on the enforcement for overload vehicles on that road. And I think we need to have, there needs to be a fee to apply for a special permit, because I think we need to have the load limits, which would be option number 2 that Thelma just referenced. And if we're going to go ahead with option number 1, I think those two would go together. But we need probably a special permit fee, and then we need to establish fines for overweight vehicles without any special permits, and then fines for probably for overloading, or probably some speed limit enforcement also would be, I think, something that would be really important for overweight loads down there. I think we should put some restrictions on any vehicles that are in excess of 28,000 pounds. But there's quite a few options that I think we need to, or plenty of issues that we need to probably have resolved before we bring this back to you guys.
Oh, I'm sorry, am I interrupted?
And I'm willing to do some research to see what the Nebraska Department of Roads and probably maybe Iowa and South Dakota used for their fines, and maybe we can come up with something similar to what's already been used by other Department of Roads.
Anybody else have any comments, discussion?
Chairman,
All right, go ahead.
I'm in agreement with Ron. And knowing that that road, it doesn't get the attention that it's due. And especially during this COVID time, you know, we're restricted to our reservation. And so I think we'd like to keep this road in good operation as long as we can, especially with harvest season upon us. And so I'd be interested in listening to an alternate route, right? Especially or primarily the one going up around Homer area. Just say about that much. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, can I speak? This is Lance.
Yes.
I guess I'm generally in agreement with Dusty, but I think that I want to mention something. You know, we pay 300-some thousand a year, you know, to rent that land. And, you know, so when we're putting together the licenses and the permits and the fines, let's keep that in mind, because none of this was added on. None of this was contemplated on the expense. As far as going around, we don't necessarily control that route. It's through the Olson's land. And so and it's not necessarily efficient. We've talked about the possibility of not loading our trucks up so much. That just costs time. It just costs money. And so if we're looking at us paying 300-some thousand a year, then fees and permits and more time, I would think that it would be nice if we could be exempted from some of that, at least during the term of our existing lease, because none of that was factored into. Those are my thoughts.
Mr.
Yeah.
Chairman, this is Lorelei. I just wanted to ask Alan a question. I heard Ron's presentation, and thank you, Ron. But do we have these funds before we're going to do all this work? Do we have the funds, Alan?
Yeah, the TTP funds are there. And actually, Ron and I discussed this option earlier today. And from a financial standpoint, if we've got the money there to protect the asset, the road, then I think that would be a wise choice.
Comment. The roof trailers. For this cool meeting. The room quiet trailers. They put out the weight on cool meetings. And the damages, the roads. I'd like that or more look into that.
Chairman.
Go ahead, John.
I just wanted to say that I think this is a step forward on that road, and that Aaron Ho-Chunk Farms is a big part of this conversation, and he's going to continue. And I don't see it as really. I see Aaron and Ho-Chunk Farms being one of the good guys, and that we're going to make it work. And I don't think there's these I wouldn't imagine these fees for licenses or fines would hurt Ho-Chunk Farms in any way. And like you said, be really working together. And I think we could trust Aaron and Ho-Chunk Farms. And if we put some stuff in place that, those are the ones that we wouldn't have to, it'd probably be some other ones. But I just wanted to say, assure Lance and Aaron that we're really going to be mindful, and we understand that when they plan this, they plan it very carefully with the leases, and that any other kind of additional costs would be hurtful towards their plans. And we don't want that. We just want to move forward with a common understanding with everybody that's going to use that road. Thank you.
Thanks,
Hey,
John.
Mr. Chairman, can I say something? This is Wallace.
Yeah.
First, I wanted to tell Ron, thank you, Ron. Your work's always been great for the Winnebago tribe. And second, I want to say those roads are really making a difference down by the river and other places. And I'm thankful to the council for doing that because, man, those potholes were getting bad. But if there's any changes, Lance probably can make them changes if they had to chip in to fix them roads, because them trucks do a lot of damage on them roads. And some of them farmers, I feel, should be charged to help fix them roads. And Ron can tell you how much them roads it costs to fix those roads. So, but right now, from what I'm seeing with these roads, Ron, that's pretty awesome. We needed that to be done. And as a tribal member, I'm very thankful to the tribal council and all the hard work. And no offense to Lance. Lance is doing a pretty good job in some stuff. And that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Wallace.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
Mr. Chairman, can I add one?
Carl, go ahead.
Yeah, not to get too far off the subject, but I got a question for Ron about these information on this stuff, data he provided on semi and grain trailers, a 50,000 pound difference between a full and an empty. Now, how does that fit in with these information on the axles? I don't see anything close to 50,000 pounds there.
Oh, Carl, the condition that the road is in right now, if we don't make any improvements to it, it's my opinion that we shouldn't allow any vehicles on there in excess of 28,000 pounds. And that's probably too much already. So what I put on the semi and grain trailer information, and maybe Aaron could confirm that, but that's the information that I've got. Just a empty tractor truck and an empty aluminum grain trailer is around 30,000 pounds, and then you can put about 900 bushels of grain at about 56 pounds a bushel. And it brings a loaded truck up to 80 or 85,000 pounds. So what I'm trying to show, Carl, is that if we don't do anything to that road, the weight limits of 28,000 would seem more practical. If we can put the 4-inch lift on it, that's going to help considerably, and it should be adequate. There may be some repairs we have to do from time to time, but that was the reference that I was trying to make.
Yeah, you already did it.
Chairman, can I try and answer Lance's comments a little bit ago? Lance, when I was talking about permits and fees and fines, it was my thought that that the special permits would allow for trucks up to 80,000 pounds, which is normally what you'd see like on a state highway or interstate. And that's what we would allow. But I wanted to try and give some incentive to Aaron and his truck drivers that they need to load those trucks, not overload them. And I think we probably should consider some speed limits also for those loaded trucks, because there's only, if we put a 4-inch lift on there and what's there's a couple of inches or inch and a half of just chip seals and a little bit of leveling that we just blade laid a couple months ago. That road, it's not built like an interstate, even if we do put the 4 inches on it. So I want some incentive with some teeth in it, that when Aaron goes out there, I want to make sure that Aaron's telling his drivers, you guys go slow and you guys do not overload these trucks. So that's where I'm going with the fines. Would be like the fine when somebody has been issued a special permit, that they don't take advantage of that and try and make a run at it to try and get up the hill where they're going 60 miles an hour down at the bottom so they can get up the hill, or overloading trucks to try and save time and money. That's my thoughts on the fines.
We don't care about I guess anytime someone says fines, and I get nervous, I suppose, but sure. I think that what I was really saying is that when we put these bids together, they're the farming margins are very thin. And so when you add costs in that weren't expected, it becomes a problem. And so I think that if we know what that stuff is, and the next time we do a lease, we can just integrate that into our planning. I'm just saying it wasn't integrated into the planning at this stage. So when we come up with the plan to do this stuff, if that was taken into consideration, that would be helpful. But we don't want to, we're pro road, certainly.
Chairman.
John, go ahead.
Time is money. I guess that's the only thing.
I just wanted for the membership out there and anybody else that's watching, I know the acronyms are flying all over, and TTP is a Tribal Transportation Program. That's money for the roads. I know like PPP is going around and PPP, PPE. So I just wanted to make that sure that the tribal membership and whoever's tuning in, that's the Tribal Transportation Program. It has nothing to do with protective equipment or payroll protection or anything like that. I just want to make sure that nobody gets confused. Thanks.
TTP is our annual funding from the BIA, correct? So that's what we get yearly.
Yes.
Yep. TTP. I agree that we have to do some research, some statistics, and both, we need to think about that road if that's what we want to do, and think about, then I guess we have to think about farming that ground down there if we want to continue to do that.
Mr. Chairman,
go ahead.
There was mention of a scale before, so I imagine that's still going to be in play. Once they know what level they can put their grain in their trucks and their semis, they probably don't have to weigh everyone, but just by the looks of it, they can tell, which farmers do now anyway.
Yeah, like could you buy smaller trucks? You see smaller grain trucks going down the road. What is feasible? The statistics. What's the smartest thing to do? Probably the smartest thing to do is to start paving that road this week. Because Aaron, when's that grain and corn and got to get out of there? When's it ready to go?
We're looking at soybeans about 3 weeks away down there. So there's a few weeks still. Corn will be over a month, but yeah, like you guys are talking about the limiting how much we put on our trailers and limiting our speed. I think those are all preventative practices we can do to help protect that road, and we're the entity that's going to do it. We're always, as Ho-Chunk Farms, we're a lot different than most other farming guys around here. We're going to do whatever's best for everybody. We're not going to abuse that privilege if we get a special license, and we know that money's coming directly from us. So let's try and do everything we can to prevent that. And I'm open to working with Ron, and I know that we can come together and figure something out that works for both sides, and in the end protects one of the tribe's assets in that nice road.
Good. So we have the money to do this road. What do we do? Do we want to start that process? Is that what we're here for? Here to do?
Chair,
Ron.
may I please reiterate? There are a lot of moving parts when it comes to this federal funding. There's processes that we have to adhere to when we start accessing these funds. We have to have a definitive plan in place and answers to all of these moving parts. Mr. Knorr is currently gleaning that out for us so that when we can follow that process and access those funds that we just mentioned. Okay? That's that 700, that's that 730,000. We can put that 4-inch lift on there, and that would fit that need. Also, putting that, having our legal counsel draw up how we're going to do that, those weight restrictions, how we're going to enforce that, how we're going to work all that out. We can bring that in again at the treasurer's report and finalize all that, pass that, and then get moving on it so that Whole Chunk Farms doesn't have a disruption. And they can get their product out and store.
For that update, I know last week somebody was trying to do that before Knife River left. So thank you for that update.
Okay.
Anything else?
Hey, Foley,
Yes.
I wanted to say something to Isaac.
Yes, Isaac.
Wanted to let you guys know that it's getting late. It's almost time to eat. That if you was to try to go down that Olson Road, that a part of it is the tribe made that Olson's very rich by allowing them to get that lease down there all the time. Back when we was at Wildlife and Parks, that lease at one time was a $800,000 lease. And one of the things that we always ran into as working at Wildlife and Parks was he owns that road, that section of that road right up to the river bank, to the edge of the river. And so a part of that was that when we come in to try to enforce things there, he would tell us to get off his property and those kind of things. And now that Ho Chunk Farms has that lease down there, he doesn't really get along with Ho Chunk Farms. And so that's one of the things that why we're trying to go up that road, you know, without damaging it and causing all kinds of stuff going on. But that's one of the things. And if we was to go that route through Homer, through your old stomping grounds there, then and back around, then we'd probably end up spending more fuel too. And so looking at this and trying to meet in the middle of all of the stuff and all the suggestions that's gone on to this point is one of the things that we're going to have to probably find out is the cost of a scale. And I got an opportunity to work with NSP, Nebraska State Patrol, a few times. And one of the things that we were doing was we were pulling over some of these cattle trucks that are going through the roundabout and spilling stuff all over. And so we'd pull them over and we'd get up to Hatchet Hill there and pull them over, and we'd call the Nebraska State Patrol, and they'd come out with their scales, portable scales, and they're no bigger than a couple plywoods. They slide under the wheel and they pull up on there, but they're built aluminum. And so those kind of scales would be something to look into if we were going to look at trying to weigh trucks out of there. And I think one of the things that Louis was trying to mention was some of the trucking companies, they have what they have run two different trailers. They split the load. And then that would go back to some of the stuff that Ron's talking about as far as per axle and those kind of things. But the trailers that we was running, they're 41 feet by 96 feet or 96 inches wide, and they'll hold about 1,100 bushel. But the tractor and the trailer is about 7,500 pounds empty. And how I know that is because we went down to what's called Circle T, the food lot that's down there by Wald Hill. And we had to utilize their scale down there. And so one of the processing things that we had to do was of trying to get the weight was we had to weigh our trucks empty to start with. And then we'd go get a load and then we'd come back and weigh it again. And that's how we figured out the bushel. And so some of these things, as we're going down the road, trying to find ways to get these things done, I'm talking with Ron, and one of the acronyms that come up was, what was it, Ron? ADT? Am I saying that right?
Average daily traffic, yes.
Yeah. So that was one of the things of saying, talking to up there in Aberdeen, talking to how do we turn that number up of the average daily traffic down to the river. And so it's currently sitting at a low number. And Ron said that he was trying to get that number turned up. But if you turn it up by 50,000 cars down there, that still isn't going to include we're not going to be able to get enough money for it yet because there's not enough traffic on that road. And that's kind of like, if you go back and look, one of the things that was brought up with the Ponca tribe was because they collect a lot of funding because they're not on a reservation, they're spread out. So they get to kind of claim all these different roads off to the west of us. And so that's some of the stuff that when we looked at what they were getting for 638 funding for roads versus the Winnebago tribe, there was a big difference there. And so what we were trying to do at the time was educate ourselves on how do we get that kind of money coming in so we can repair our roads. And it looks like it's a lengthy process. And I know that before there was talk of building a bridge one day and all that kind of stuff over to Winnebago. But that little bridge that's up there by Nebraska and Santee, that was built by one of the guys that sat on the Santee Council. He brought it up, and it took him about 3 years, and he ended up on the Congress floor and finally got it approved and stuff. So those kind of ideas aren't too far out from the things that we can do. When we start working together, we can accomplish a lot, you know. And so I just wanted to kind of mention that. And that road, I think one of the big things that the tribe was really catching hell over was saying who was spending that road and how much money was being spent on that road. So one of the things that could be offered is to try to put out more information on the process of that road, since there's a lot of people that are really worried about it now, you know. And I was thinking about Chicky, if he was talking about bringing up a toll booth. No, I'm just teasing. But that's some of the stuff that I just wanted to kind of put in there for you guys and let you guys know that if we get it fixed up, keep it fixed up. But these trucks, it's gonna cost a lot to load the trucks halfway too. But if it's gonna save the road, we could probably do that, you know. I'm just saying that because coming up that hill, and we talked about this, me and Ron, was coming up that hill, that big hill, that's gonna be where you'd have to try to get speed to try to climb that hill. And the rest of the road, if you're driving a semi, the rest of the road, that the way the angles are on the turns, you can't go around those very fast when you're loaded with corn, because that truck will tip over. So that I just wanted to kind of throw that in there with a little bit of the speed limits and stuff like that. But the other thing too is, for those of you that don't know, it's from by Pearl Point's house, BIA 17A goes to Chickies, then it turns into BIA 17B down to Big Bear Park. And one of the things is there's fields that are behind Jeanette Rice's, and you're going to have other people that are leasing whatever those fields are back there coming out of there with weight too. And you guys just redid that road. So just kind of keep an open mind on how, once you put those things in place, that it's not only just going to affect Ho Chunk Farms, but there's a chance that we can get those other farmers to try to chip into. And that's something we could figure out working with the BIA of who's got what leases behind there and who's going to be using that road. Because you got Roland Matthews that are over there by Bombers, by Thomas Snows. They're going to be coming out on a road with grain trucks. You'll see it when they cut hay and alfalfa also too. So there's some things to keep in mind. That's all I got.
Thanks, Isaac. Yeah, I think the BIA should be if they're telling us we can't restrict trucks, and you know they should be giving us more funding to fix these roads. Just one quick thought, you know, from what I heard. But will there be any action on this evening?
Hopefully, we'll try and have information put together for that treasurer's report so we can take some action at that meeting.
Okay. Okay.
What day is that? What's the date on that?
29th.
29th.
Next Tuesday.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Hey,
Thank you, Ron.
bring us back to the table. Treasurer's report, September 29th. Okay, with updates. Okay. Last item is tribal council items. Request for referral. Wallace Earth. Wally.
Coley, he would like to go into an executive session on this, and if Shiara and Grace Earth can stay on the call also.
Is there a motion to go into executive session?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Thelma. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Chairman, discussion.
Seconded by Carl. Okay. Discussion. John?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Wallace is married to my aunt, Grace Snowball, and I don't think it's, I don't want to take part in the executive session, so I don't see anything else in the agenda, so I would request to be excused from the meeting.
Okay. You're leaving for the evening, John. You're out. Okay.
Thank you, Chairman.
So John Snowball out at 6:24 p.m.
Thank you, John. Chairman,
Yes.
I too would like to be excused from the rest of this meeting, just due to family relations.
Okay. We're
Thank you.
excused at 6:24 p.m. too. Are you just from this discussion? Just for the discussion, or are you leaving the meeting?
I was planning on leaving the meeting, Chairman.
Okay. Eric's out too at 6:24 p.m. Is there any more discussion? Is there any objections to go into executive session? None? Okay, motion to go in executive session at 6:25 p.m. 6:00. Is everybody off? Who's?
All right, just hold on. I'm gonna get people off.
Hey, Erica, make sure that the live stream stopped too.
Yeah, I'll do that too.
Tribal Council, IT, Teresa, Roz, Koob, Shira. Is there anyone else from Human Services? Those can stay.